Shalom with a Life Faith Center. Today I am grateful, I am humbled to be in front with a Life Faith Center. My father's church, both Jesus God, my father, my spiritual father, and now down to me again. I want to say today you could have taken a sabbatical and you could have gone to the beach. I mean, you know that we didn't have service 2 weeks ago, and you probably had a lot of time on your hands, right? Because you didn't have the service on Sunday. But I'm saying thank you for being here today. Thank you for all that you have done to in Word of Life Faith Center in this ministry. It has not been for me, it has not been for that. My past, I don't want to say my dead father, but that is, you have done it for the Lord. You have done it for Jesus. When we do things on the pulpit, we do things for God, for Jesus to be lifted up. So today I am humbled again, as I say, to be able to give a message, to preach the word today to you all, to people who may even know the word more than I know the word. I am humbled. So today I want to speak, and I started off, I really wanted to start with a bang, but I wanted to be honest with the church. I wanted to express my love for the church. As I have grown up in this church, as many of you all have grown up in this church. So let me get back into my mood here. I have to get back into our mode of thinking. And as you all know, I plan my messages. I mean, that is why I have the laptop. I am not a first speaker, as I would say, but I will try to do my best and let God do the rest. Today I want to speak about God's plan and purpose in your life. In other words, the purpose God has given you. I wanted to recall the story found in Exodus. Now, as many of you all know the story of Moses, I read the story of Moses this week, and the Lord spoke to me. You know, very rare you feel that, for me, very rare I feel that the Lord has spoken to me. I'll be honest with you. But reading this message, this story of Moses really brought something out to me. As a young child, I would look at cartoons with the story of Moses, how Moses would part the sea. And that story that we learn, that story that we see in the cartoon is not exactly how it is, according to the KJV. And this is what I want to bring. I want to bring a few lessons, and these lessons are to show you God's plan, God's purpose in our lives, in each and every one of us. Each and every one of us have a purpose. So I will start by sort of saying what the story is, right? So bear with me for you all that know the story. Bear with me. The story of Moses, I want to recall the story found in Exodus. The story of Moses and the children of Israel and Pharaoh and the Egyptians. The word Exodus refers to a mass departing of people. Did everybody know that? No, right. Good. I did something by being up here to say that the word Exodus is the mass departing of people. And as I say, I give all the glory and honor to God. Please do not look at me. I am just a messenger. Do not look at me as being the perfect and the almighty. It is God, to give God all the glory when you are here in Word of Life Faith Center. And so this book gives us the story of a mass departing. The story passes through approximately 14 chapters, at least the part that I will be doing. And I'm trying to make this as short as possible, but it is a longish story. I will record it in much a more abridged version to speak about interesting lessons. And usually I don't like to be Now, as you know, the children of Israel is symbolic of the church. This is when I read it, I realized the children of Israel was symbolic of the church. Pharaoh and the Egyptians were the non-church. So when I refer to the Egyptians and when I refer to the children of Israel, I try to relate it to the context of the church and the non-church, the believer and the non-believer. So in Exodus chapter 1, we hear that the children of Israel came to Egypt. Those who had followed Jacob. Exodus 1 says, "And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, and multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them." This, of course, was the chosen generation, quote unquote. Verse 8 says that a new king arose up over Egypt who knew not Jacob. So imagine you living in the land, and the king before knew you. You would have maybe some level of favor. It is like, perhaps, I don't like to put politics into it, but it is like when one party is in power, and you know that party, you may get some favor from a specific party. But then all of a sudden now, the party changed. And in this case, it would have been, it would have been that the Pharaoh would have died. And then a new Pharaoh would have come in, and that's what the king was. The king of Egypt was Pharaoh. Now, mind you, there's a lot of information I will see here. You know, when I saw the story on the cartoon, they called Pharaoh. So I always thought, this man named Pharaoh. But the man wasn't named Pharaoh. Pharaoh was a type of king. An Egyptian king is called a Pharaoh. So a new king came into being, and of course, well, the other one died. So that is why the favor was gone. There is no favor now because there's a new king who don't know Jacob. Jacob gone, and the children of Israel still in Egypt. So this Pharaoh, noticed that the children of Israel were more and mighty than his own Egyptians. That is according to the KJV. So he devised a plan to deal wisely with them, since he was afraid that if war were to occur, that the children of Israel would leave Egypt and go with the enemy and fight Egypt. Now you understand, this is a plan and a strategy. This is what we're talking about here. This is, I'll just give you the example. There are people under me, I'm Pharaoh, and I'm looking at these people, and I'm saying, oh, these people are really, they're awesome, they're great and mighty. They are mighty people. And I look at them and I say, no, boy, I will not plan for them because I start to get afraid. I say, I don't know what to overthrow me, I don't know what to overthrow me. So I plan for them. So he was afraid of them. So essentially the Egyptians were afraid of losing their land. That was the main intent. They didn't want to lose their land. Because as with countries nowadays, they don't want to lose their land. Right? And that's something for everybody. We don't want Venezuela to come and take Trinidad and take oil. Think about it that is something even up to today. So we can relate back the story to the current times. So Pharaoh set up taskmasters. That's back in the days, and sometimes you can think that they might be under a taskmaster when you go there. Anybody agree with me on that one? Sometimes you feel like there's a taskmaster, but when you go there, you're under pressure. So Pharaoh set up taskmasters to afflict the children of Israel with burdens. But the more they were afflicted, the more they grew with a fighting center. This grieved the Egyptians. Imagine you're putting pressure on somebody you don't like. And the more you put pressure, the more they grow. How does that irritate you? You might put yourself in the shoes. I want you to be down and out. And I'm giving you everything to mash you up, as they say in Trinidad style. And you're growing. Much like, I would say, not like the example. Just give me the example. As cliche as this may sound, this shows the power of God's plan and favor in our lives. The children of Israel were like diamonds. Now, how many of you, by raise of hand, know how diamonds are created? Well done, very good, right? So diamonds, I know you have some engineers in the back The element that creates diamonds is called carbon. Carbon is a black element. This is a dark, perhaps depending on the subject, it is black. It's not transparent and beautiful like a diamond. But yet, when the carbon is down under the ground, and according to, as I said, I researched this, but I knew from a little bit from before, most natural diamonds are formed at high temperature and pressure. Much like what happened with the children of Israel. They were under a lot of pressure. This is major pressure. What we go through in Trinidad and Tobago is not major pressure. We think it's pressure, but that isn't the pressure that they would have gone through. They would have, I think you would multiply by 1,000 times to understand the pressure that they went through. So as the carbon under this temperature and pressure, so there's a lot of heat, there's a lot of actual pressure. Have you ever been under in a pool and you're under the water and you feel like the weight of the pool is upon you? I know not everybody goes that deep, but there's a part where you go very deep. That the pool, the entire pool feels, the water in the pool feels like it's on top of you, and that causes you to, it forces on your lungs to breathe out. This is the same kind of pressure that the children of Israel are going through, and it's the same kind of pressure, metaphorically speaking, that is happening to the diamond, which is not diamond yet. So it's carbon, right? This black thing. So the carbon, which is black containing minerals, the growth occurs as the crystal. The growth occurs over periods from 1 billion to 3.3 billion years. And I want to come back to something not related too much to church, but related to what we learn. There is no way. Who can prove that the carbon really turned into diamond? It is a theory. It is a theory. They can't really prove because they can't say 1 billion to 3.3 billion. Maybe they can do an artificial diamond. But the 1 billion to 3.3 billion carbon that turned into the diamond, that refinement, there was a refinement going through there. It all had pressure. The carbon turned into a beautiful diamond. Anybody has a diamond ring? Anybody can just show a diamond ring? Have you seen how beautiful a diamond ring? Nothing is wrong with the carbon. The carbon is what is, you know that we are made up of carbon. Did you know that? Scientifically, we are made up of carbon. But so nothing is wrong with carbon. What I'm saying is there's a refinement that has occurred to the point, have you ever seen a young lady or a woman when that diamond, when they're shooting that diamond, and all the rest of the women in the group will say, ooh! You ever hear that? That is what we're talking about, that refinement. There has been a change. And this change hasn't come across by one day I jump from here to there. 1 billion years. Imagine how much generations have passed through before that diamond, that one diamond could have been created. That is what I'm saying. That it is, I'm relating it back to the children of Israel. And further to that, I want to give you the example of gold. Now, diamond, I think it is more expensive, right? Yeah. But so is gold, right? And you notice something about diamond and gold. It don't ever go down in price. You ever thought about it that way too? Metaphorically speaking, and making this thing back up to Israel and the children of Israel. It didn't go down in price. Right? So, coming back to gold now. How is gold created? Do you know that gold doesn't look as beautiful as this when it's in the river? Because you know sometimes they get gold in the river, I don't know if you all know, but they sift, sometimes they sift the rivers where there is gold. The gold is very minute, very small, and it comes out through the river, and then there's these big sifting machines. I saw it on Discovery Channel, right? And when they collect this gold, the gold is dull, the gold is soft, the gold is not like, you know, like a ring, strong like this, fancy like this, have a little nice color, gold, whatnot, so gold. So I'll explain something about gold too. So they take gold when they're making a ring. They take gold and they add something else to the gold. They add an additive to the gold to make it stronger. Gold is by nature soft. And it's the same way, it takes some pressure involved to make this ring. It is the same way the children of Israel have gone through. Some pressure. I may not be using it to hardship. For the English majors, hardship in order for this to happen. So the guy continued with the gold, just to finish off. So the gold, even after it is created, so they gold we want. Remember, everybody has their own choice of what color gold they want. There's gold, there's gold not gold. Just, I mean, ridiculous. But there's different colors of gold, shades of gold. And you can decide what color shade. Now, I didn't know this, but when I had to get married, we had to decide on a ring, and I was very picky about my ring. I didn't want my ring with diamonds. No offense to people who have diamonds. I salute you men who have diamonds on your ring. I mean, it's nice. See? Right. Okay. So I wanted a normal simple ring. And so they asked me, well, you know, what kind of color do you want? So I said, well, I want a gold ring. I want one looking like gold. I want something looking, you know, beautiful and nice. And I don't want it to be dull because then it might look like maybe white gold or silver. So I told them a specific color gold. And guess what they did too? Did you know that the color of gold is not related to gold? In other words, the color of gold is a specific color. But what they do is they polish this gold ring, according to create this color. This is according to what the person said me. I am not a gold specialist, but I'm just relaying the message. So they had to polish it. That was more work, that was more refinement. Think about it that way. There's a lot of refinement going on with the children of Israel. And of course, the children of Israel may not have seen it as refinement. They see it as pressure. Imagine not being, well, I will get to the story. I don't want to jump to the story, but you will understand some of the pressure because we're going to it now. You see, we want it to all work smoothly. God knows. I wanted to work smoothly. Me, Richard, wanted to work smoothly. But here is an example to show you that sometimes it doesn't always happen that way. Nevertheless, I didn't realize that Sister Sabi is there. Nevertheless, I just said a random truth from on one side. Nevertheless, there is a plan and purpose for you because you are God's children. There will always be a plan and purpose. Even for the non-believer, there is a plan and purpose of God. And you know, sometimes this spoke to my heart because sometimes I look at it and I look at what is going on and say, there are times I am guilty. I say, but I'm not seeing a plan. This is not adding up. It's not working. And I do say, where is God? Not knowing that I will read this and now put things into perspective a little bit more. That is why I say that this story speaks to me, and I hope that it will speak to you in a different way. Not in the way that you normally hear the message of Exodus and you normally hear Moses. Moses is one of the most popular person that people speak about in the Bible. So I can understand if you may feel, he is preaching about Moses. Bear with me. I hope you got something from the Bible, and I hope you got something from the book. So I am actually 1/3 done. I don't know what the time is, 10:05, okay, I'm taking very long. The Egyptians continued to afflict the children of Israel and make them serve with rigor. That is what they said. Hard bondage, in mortar, in brick. All service was with rigor. This is not we sit down in front of a desk, like what we do. You know, a lot of us, we have jobs, we sit in front of a desk and we have action, we have pressure, we try to build. For example, sometimes I try to build something on the computer and I go through stress and I feel to pull out my hair because I can't solve a solution, I can't make a solution. But this was a different rigor and a different kind of labor. This was bricks, this was building a building. Can you imagine? And this is where I am speculating. So do not quote me on what I'm about to say, but this one sentence here. What if, I wonder, what did the children of Israel have something to do with the Great Pyramids? Because they talk about this hard labor. This was beyond the hard. This was sort of like the children of Israel were a little bit more human than we were, a little superhuman. They were strong. What if they had a part to play in the Great Pyramids? I thought to myself. And think about it that way. That is the hard labor because some people know, they say they don't know how the pyramids were created. They cannot understand how they put it together. It was hard labor back then. It is still hard labor up to now. So this, of course, made the lives of the children of Israel bitter. In other words, seriously hard labor, Trinidad and Tobago pressure. I use the word already, so you understand what the pressure I'm talking about. Further to that, Pharaoh commanded to the midwives to kill the sons of any Hebrew woman who was having their child but leave their daughters. So Pharaoh said, here's what we're doing. Every Hebrew child that is born and is a son, kill him. That is, now you have to understand, I don't know the correct term is genocide, but that is killing a generation. By killing the males, not that there's anything wrong with the females, but without any males, you can't have more children. Think about it that way. So he was saying, listen, I hate you all growing too much, stop growing. He saw it on the physical aspect. He wanted that generation to stop, to get smaller. And he told him midwives to kill them. But the midwives feared God. And this is a good example, you know people say you have to love God, but there's an important part in it. You love God, but you also fear God. I have to fear God. If I say something, I have to fear God. And that will be revealed later on. So they didn't kill. So Pharaoh commanded, it's like he made a law and he said, listen, go ahead, every son that born, throw them in the river. Imagine a man seeing a beautiful child. And seeing a beautiful child too. But let's say this young lady here, a child. Imagine a man, a big grown man, saying, pass it into the sea. Okay. Shows something about a man's heart, right? It shows something very seriously wrong with a man's heart. It doesn't take God, it doesn't take you having to serve God, serve Jesus, serve any religion to see that something is wrong with that. Why is that? Because what would something you had already before you do it? What had a plan before you even do it? That is how I see it. That is my second speculation for today. Everything else is a fact based on what the Bible says. So when I say serious is that this man didn't have a conscience. If he could kill a child, he didn't care about any one of us here. This is the church, he didn't care about it. Because a child doesn't choose a religion at a specific time. Right? So good one. Sorry, Brother Dara. In chapter 2, a man from the house of Levi took to wife a daughter of Levi. Now you notice it didn't call any names, so I'm not really sure who was. But, and when she could not hide, okay, right, so they bought some, pardon me. And when she could not hide it any longer, made an ark of bulrushes. And I have no idea what bulrushes. Somebody will educate me later on what bulrushes. But it sounds like bullgrass to me. That's why I think bullgrass and something. I wonder. And daubed it with slime and pitch. And left the child in it, in the flags by the river's edge. And his sister was put a little way off to look at her brother. Imagine a sister, a little child. So the mother said, child, go and see what happened to your brother. So she goes by the side of the river, kind of hiding, and looking at this little ark. You imagine a basket, a little basket and this time, so the waterproof, right? So waterproof, it could probably float a little bit. And imagine a mother having to do that. A mother having to put yourself in the shoes of a mother or father. If you are not a mother or father, you can still put yourself in the shoes of a mother and father. To put yourself and say, listen, this is my child. This is what I create. This is not what I'm telling you, when you are a parent, I have seen this for myself. When you are a parent, your child can do whatever, whenever, and you will be upset with your child, but your child is always your child. Your child is yours. Imagine how Jesus, how God thinks about us. The same way. Not that we should do wrong things, but He will never stop being your father. Never stop being your father. So anyways, moving on. Lo and behold, she opened, okay, right, so I'm coming to, right. Now they do, right, so we are sitting here, there's a river, there's this little child in a basket floating. The sister of the child looks to tell him what is going to happen. Now the daughter of Pharaoh, imagine that, the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash her hands in the river and noticed the ark. Now the ark, I said, is the basket, right? The basket with the child. And noticed the ark and asked her maids to fetch this little ark. Lo and behold, she opens the ark, and there she sees a baby. And this baby wept. So I guess you would have to know try to get wet even when you're river. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what happens to your child. But you don't only try to get wet while you're still under watch, while the mother is under watch. Or the child is under watch by the mother. That's right. Good. And she opens this. This is Pharaoh, the enemy. The enemy's sister, daughter. And ask him, okay, so good. And she noticed the ark and asked her maid to go fetch this little ark. Lo and behold, she opens the ark and there she sees a baby. And this baby wept. Have you seen a baby weep? They weep. You feel it in your heart when you see a child weep. Not even a baby only here, but like even a little young child. They cry and they can't even cry. You know when they cry, they make me hear cry. Yet for a few seconds they don't even need to cry. That is what they're feeling in their heart. I believe that is what she felt. She felt that in her heart. It could have been any child. That is what I'm saying. This was Pharaoh's daughter. She was an enemy, but she still had a conscience. She still had a conscience. So, Pharaoh's daughter had compassion on him, making real fast, and you have to go through the story again. There's a few things when you go through the story in the KJV, whichever version, but the KJV will be nice to the original version. And this, what will speak to you more? I think so, because as I say, I hear the story over and over, and it never speaks to me the way it speaks to me when I read it myself. And Pharaoh's daughter even paid a Hebrew woman who happened to be the mother. Imagine that. How ironic is that? Pharaoh's daughter paid the mother to nurse the child. Amazing. To me, that's an amazing thing how that plan is created. You know, as I say, you will get the story so much time to lose the gist of the story. But to me, that's what wonders. Who happened to the mother of the child, to this child, I mean, she showed true compassion. As I said before, that compassionate nature is not because it doesn't have anything necessary to do with Jesus. As long as you do the right thing, you know. You can't look at a man outside. I see something interesting. You can't look at a man outside and just call him sinner. Even if he doesn't believe in Jesus. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have something in him. God has a plan and purpose for everyone. So when the child grew, she brought the child, that is the mother, brought the child to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She called him Moses because he was drawn from the waters. Now, the mother was smart, I would say, because that is the enemy, right? But the enemy living very good, you know. The enemy in palaces. The enemy probably have diamonds all over. They will be walking in gold in this palace. So the mother smart, imagine, you know you can't provide for your child. But you set, God set this thing up where the enemy will take the child, grow up the child will have a pretty good life. Right? So God has a plan. I'm saying God has a plan for all of us. So lesson number 2, as I would say, you are closer. Whether you see the purpose or not, God has a purpose for you. Look at Moses. He had a death sentence when he was born. What about us? We don't have death sentence when we're born. We have the freedom. We have freedom, as they say. Freedom to live, freedom to thrive, freedom to work, freedom to study, freedom to do all things. Look at the amount and the immense pressure, and yet God had a plan for this. He maneuvered, he worked through things. He went through. He put them in the enemy's camp, as I would say. And yet he wasn't harmed. Moses wasn't harmed. So there's an irony sometimes, and I want to say that there's an irony. Sometimes we look at God's plan, and yes, true, God wants things done in order. I agree with that. But sometimes the plan, we can't see the plan. I think that's how I saw it. Because I looked at it and I said, I don't know what I would be thinking as a mother. I don't know what I would be thinking as Pharaoh. And I started to put myself in Pharaoh's shoe and put myself in the mother's shoe. And I saw that there was an irony in the plan. So sometimes we can't see this plan at all. They might say, oh, God is if God has to do something, he will do it perfect. But what is he perfect serve God, but sometimes we go through pressure, right? And we wonder, as I say, where is God? But God, I'm saying God is there. God is doing the plan, you know. We're not doing this plan. We might think we create a plan, and God will maneuver around that plan, like a river bending around the land to get something. So that's God. I am at least halfway there. Now, one day Moses sees an Egyptian killing a Hebrew man. So Moses does the Trinity thing. He looks around to see if anyone sees it, and because no one was there, he let the Egyptian have it. You know Trinities? Sorry, not all Trinities, some Trinities. You know, like if nobody watching, they might call an emergency later to take over somebody. You know, you look around for the set, you sit down, I am around. Anybody here know raise your hand, please? Alright, so the Trinity is the look around. So as I say, I related it back to our current era. So people, you know, if you can avoid it, try to direct that. Don't look around. Have you ever fallen and you look around who's still falling? It's kind of the same way, you're not doing anything wrong with that one, right? But it's the same way, right? So he killed the Egyptian. Moses